Hey everyone, good afternoon. We're going to get started here in just a moment. Let me share my screen. Right. Right, so I'm sharing my screen. By way of introduction, if you haven't met me before, I am Trent. I am the Director of Customer Success here at Woven. And for the next 30 minutes or so, I'll be your host. We're going to go through what's new at Woven over the last month. This webinar is typically just a rapid fire demonstration of new updates that you may or may not have seen. As an honorable mention, you can always see what's new without coming to the webinar by clicking on the question mark icon and then click the see what's new button. And this will take you to our change logs to show you any new product updates. But I'm happy you're here. Let's spend the next 30 minutes being productive. So let's go through new updates. All right. In no particular order, I'm going to start with some things in the Knowledge Center area of Woven. So first thing I'm going to click into is here. The first update is kind of like you can see right here. You now have the ability to upload multiple handbooks. So rather than potentially uploading, one 100-page document that's a PDF that people have to scroll through, you could chunk it up into multiple bite-sized pieces and add multiple handbooks rather than just one large document. Additionally, you have the ability now to target the handbooks. So similar to some other features in Woven, like our policies or our communications, you can say, I only want this handbook to be visible to certain locations or to certain positions, effectively job titles. So I can customize that and have quite a bit of control over it. I can also leave these handbooks in draft and publish them when I'm ready, and also see an activity log of any updates that have been made to this document. That is a new update here. Another one is in the report center. When you're scheduling a report, almost any report, if you go to click the schedule button and scroll down here to the fields to select for the dates, there were always the options for yesterday, today, previous work week, month, last 30, last 90, last 20, quarter, and year to date. But the new one here is static custom date range. So here it's just a date range selector. You can click on it, click in the box, and then you can pick the to and from dates just like that and set your own custom dates for push reports. That's new as well and available in just about every export and report that I am aware of. All right. Next, there isn't anything to demo on this necessarily, but I'll just show you here in communications. So in the communications feature, you have the ability to obviously make your content from scratch, kind of like this one is for a kickball summer league, made from scratch. And I can click in here and read it all. However, you also have the ability to just upload a PDF as your communication. And we got some feedback from many users that when you were uploading a PDF, the text was kind of squished and not hard to read and all those types of things. So we have made some improvements as of today. When your your communication is a PDF, it's much more readable in both the app and on desktop. Additionally, you have the option to pop out into a full screen and view the PDF that way. Next is back in the Knowledge Center. We have under the file library some UI updates. So specifically in this screen, there used to be two really large buttons here that said, I believe it was like account and brand. So if you had a brand account, if your entire brand is using Woven, your brand is able to share documentation down to your organization, and then you're able to kind of decide to disseminate it or not. We've just cleaned that UI up a little bit, and rather than having gigantic buttons, there's a column here that just kind of tells you what library is it coming from. Is it coming from a brand account, or is it coming from the library of your actual account? So just easier, more modern feel to this page here overall. All right. Next is kind of an admin level thing, but if you are an account admin, you now have the ability, if you have a security update, to view your daily file. So most accounts with us, integrate with your HRS system or payroll system. So once a day, we pick up a file, we process all of your team members and add them in Woven, fire them in Woven, promote them, change their locations, all those kinds of things, and try to make that as automated as possible. The new update here is that if you are an account admin and you have the permission I'm about to show you under the miscellaneous company HRS integration permission here, you will now be able to go to the integrations tab, scroll down to something like this Paycor integration, or this one happens to be a fictitious test I've set here. And you'll be able to see how often is Woven processing your file. If there's data here, this is a fake environment, so there's no real stuff here. And then an actual copy of all of the logs of the files that we've ran, as well as if you click into those, you'll be able to look at errors. So if you're ever wondering and haven't had a chance to reach out to support, why someone didn't get added to Woven, or maybe they did, but why does their information look that way? You now have some troubleshooting tools here in your tool belt to be able to interact with it before reaching out to support. That is a new thing as well. All right. Next few things are in audits. There's quite a few updates to the location audit tool. So I'm going to go to that. If we go to settings, and we click into an audit that's in draft. First one, probably the most major one, is you now have the ability to schedule audits. So here I can click into this audit. I can add a schedule. I can say, how often do I want this audit to be performed, and kind of set and forget it and templatize it. So let's say I want to run this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. I want to assign it to the manager or somebody else. I want this to apply to all locations or specific locations. Do I want it to expire? Yes or no? Do I want this to be an active schedule? Do I want to put it on pause, or do I want to disable it temporarily? Save that, and then moving forward at 8 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for every location in your account, a manager would be assigned an audit to perform, and they will be notified accordingly. This is just one example. You also have the option to do this daily, monthly, or on an interval basis, which is essentially day bound. So every 30 days, every 365, every 90, whatever you would like, and customize it that way. So this was a long asked for enhancement, and it is here. Next in audits is rich text instructions. So as a reminder, Woven has template level instructions like you see right here. We have section level instructions, and then we also have question level instructions. On any of those instructions, these used to be plain text, but now they can be bold, italics, underlined, bullet points, indents, hyperlinks to other places, pictures, videos, all that kind of stuff is all supported now in each tier of those instructions. So on a question, on a section, or on a template. Additionally, we have now added the ability on a question level to require a photo. So you always have the ability to put in a photo, but it is optional. Now you can actually force that behavior on any individual question. You want to force that, you just say always require it for this specific question. You can also require it only if the question was marked as the undesired answer, the incorrect answer, or just leave it the default, which would be never required, but always an option. So that is a brand new update as well. All right. That's it on the audit side. Next, there's some things in maintenance and work orders. So in no particular order, the first one is going to be under preventative maintenance. We go to settings in preventative maintenance. We go to a template. As you are building out your template and you've made your decisions on the cadence and the assets in question and the locations in question and any SOP instructions, you now have the option here to click preview and confirm that what you've selected is what you actually want to happen. So you can click this preview, see at each location how many work orders are going to get opened. In this case, in my example, 4, what assets will actually be there with their actual asset tag numbers. So you can be really confident before you press publish that because you looked at the preview, exactly what you want to happen will happen when this template is triggered for the first time. So PM template preview is brand new. Next, in the report center, also related to maintenance, there are 2 new reports. Under Under assets, there is this new metered readings report. Previously, there was a report for metered assets at a warning level and requiring attention. This other report is very similar in the data that it has. However, it is holistically all of the readings rather than just the things that are at a warning or at a max value. It'll just show you every reading that there is. And so that is a new report as requested. We also have another new report in here called the Daily Maintenance Digest. So this is a daily overview of any open work orders that you have access to, whether you're performing to the targets of your SLAs for them, and if there are any locations that currently need attention. Let's just show you briefly what this looks like. Looks like this, right? So it's more of a chart type of style of report. And this can be exported as a PDF. It can be filtered depending on the level of access you have, and it can also be scheduled to deliver into your inbox on a cadence of your preference. All right. Back into maintenance, there's quite a few things here. The next one is going to be under work orders. Under a closed work order, we go into one of these right here. Previously, if you needed to change something about it, let's say it was closed, but it was closed with the wrong reason. Maybe this wasn't truly a grinding sound issue, it was something else. In order to make that kind of correction, data correction, you had to click reopen the work order and then change the reason. If you have permissions to it, you can click the three dots now, click edit reason, and go through this workflow to change it while it's still closed without having to send out notifications that something's been reopened and then immediately reclosed, just quieting some of that noise and allowing you to do this administratively if you have access to do so. Okay. Continuing on the work order side, we are continuing to build out some functionality around job library. So the different types of jobs that could be performed. If we go to work order settings, configuration, scroll down towards the bottom, there is this new section for job library. By default, it is off, but you can enable it here. You can go into the job library here, set up certain types of jobs. So as an example, I've got a treadmill motor replacement job here. Click into it, and I can put in a description for it. I can say if this job type is a repair versus a replace versus a rebuild versus a new install. How long do I think this job should typically take in minimum hours and maximum? Are there certain trades that are going to need to apply to this job? As an example, doesn't need to be somebody like a certified electrician or an HVAC expert or something like that. And more things to come in this functionality. Ultimately, then you can activate this job, associate documents to it, things like that. And the new update related to this is you now have the ability to import these jobs in bulk. You were previously only able to add them one at a time. You can now click import, download our template, fill it out, upload it here, and then go through this 4-step wizard of importing your job library. So that is new as well. All right. More stuff in assets and work orders. There are some new notification options. Under account settings, under notifications, related to work orders, specifically, you now have the option here to notify the delivery by priority. So here, the way this works is these notifications are still going to go out to the positions in question. So in this case, customer success director, maintenance, and regional director on a new work order. But depending on the priority level of that work order, you can also customize the cadence of them. So in this example, I've set up critical work orders are going to go out immediately. Basically, that's the default behavior today is immediate. However, things that are low are only going to go out every hour. And if things are, and that are normal are going to go out every hour. And things that are low are going to go out every day. So you can change this cadence. This has a global impact on your account, right? So this would be something that you would all have to decide on as an organization that you want to utilize, but it's another tool in your tool belt to control the work order notification emails that go out based on priority. Once you set up what you want, you do need to click the supply button to set it across your organization. All right. Okay, we'll keep flying through some things. Next two things are related to documentation, both for vendors and for manufacturers. So if we go to the asset records here, we go to settings, manufacturers tab, we click into a manufacturer, let's say something like Life Fitness. We scroll here. There is now a general document storage option under a manufacturer record. You just drag and drop or browse your PC to drop in any type of documents about, in this case, Life Fitness that you would like to, and have that live in your settings and digitize it. Semi-similarly, under vendors, there's this new column here for compliance. You can see many times it says no documents here. If I click into a vendor record and I go to the documents tab, which is also new for them, I have general document storage, which I can drag and drop or browse. I have COI, so certificate of insurance, that I can upload. Just drag and drop it, say if you're going to replace the current one or not. And then I also have contracts. Same idea, I can drag and drop or replace the current contract and digitize all of that material as well under the vendor record. We've also, with that update, included a new option for vendor rates so that you can document that as well. As an example here, this is the standard rate for equipment repair company, $150 an hour at all locations. And I last updated that on July 16th. You click here, type in a new rate that I need to track, put in the amount, choose the unit, whether that's hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, a flat fee per unit, per square foot, or per visit, and also select which locations it applies to. All right. A couple more things on the work order side under assets. If you've been in the tool and over the last week or so, you've probably already seen this, but when you click into an asset record, it previously used to take you to this detail page by default. But now we take you to what we're calling the 360 view, which is a graphical overview of all the things that are in these tabs across the top here, but just in a one-page type of view to allow you to be able to just look at it a little bit faster and more efficiently. So that is new as well, the 360 view. Next, we have made some pretty significant improvements to asset importing. So if you're doing things like importing a new location for the first time or something like a re-equip, you've probably seen this before, but if you click on import right here, this is now much more user-friendly. So the way that this is going to work is, but previously you would download the template right here, you would upload it, and you would see errors along the way. And every time you would want to correct an error, you would have to back out of the process, go correct your error in Excel, and then come back and re-upload it, right? So now it's much more consultative, and you can fix the file on the fly using this 4-step wizard here. It's way cleaner. I think you all, if anyone has done this, will find this a vast improvement. Good example is if you're putting something in like a bunch of treadmills and you randomly misspelled somewhere in your data file, that would be something you would have had to back out and go fix. Now you can just fix it live in the wizard experience rather than have to manually edit your file repeatedly. So I think you'll find that a nice quality of life improvement if you've ever had to do that. All right. All right, scrolling through my notes, I think we're doing a pretty good job of covering most of these things. I think there's really one more major thing to cover, which is under assets. So we're going to go to assets here. We're going to go to settings. We're going to go to the configuration tab. And there's this new area here for asset book value. Again, this is off by default, but you can see an example here where I set this up for Black Card Spa tanning. I expect it to live 72 months. Here's the replacement cost on the low end. Here's what it is on the high end. And here's my threshold. And I can add additional for book values. This is going to allow Woven to ultimately give you some guidance if you enable it on when it's time to repair something versus when it's time to replace something. So more functionality with this to come, I believe, but this is the first step in unlocking some additional cool functionality. All right. Okay, so that's the stuff that's brand new. Next month, you will likely have a different host. One of my colleagues will host this. We'll do the same thing. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the attention. Hope you were able to glean something that you find useful here or excited about an update. We'll do it again next month. Thanks. See ya.